In this video, we'll be talking about environmental science. And what is it? First, let's define what the environment is. The environment is all of the things around us, all the living things, all the non-living things that surrounds us. So what is environmental science? Environmental science is the scientific study of how we interact with all of these living and non-living things. There's also environmental studies. Environmental studies is essentially taking environmental science, some history, law, ethics, and putting it all together. So an environmental scientist is somebody that is studying the science of the environment. An environmentalist, on the other hand, is somebody that is proactive in politics, in activism, in education of environment. So one of the big things that we're going to be looking at is systems and how systems interact with each other. And there are systems within systems. Larger systems that are made up of a bunch of smaller systems. If you think of the human body, we have several different systems that work together to become us as a human. So think, for this class, ecosystem. What is an ecosystem, and how all of the little systems within that ecosystem work together, and then how us as humans interact with those systems. When we're looking at ecosystems, we're going to think of ecosystem services. So ecosystem services are what supports the ecosystem gives us to maintain life. So what does the environment give to us to keep us going? It could be food, it could be water, it could be shelter. And in this class, we're going to be talking about all the different ways that we interact with that and how we disrupt a lot of these systems. And in our interactions with the ecosystem and our ecosystem services and how we exploit those to make our lives easier, better, there are certain indicators that environmental scientists look at to see, are we overexploiting? Is it something that we need to create some legislation? Are we overexploiting the ecosystems and in danger of losing some of these services, in danger of polluting some of these ecosystem services and making them no longer available or viable for us to use? So some of the indicators that we use and look at as environmental scientists would be biological diversity. We can be looking at biodiversity, ecosystem diversity, genetic diversity, species diversity. Essentially, we'll come more to this later, the more diversity, the more resilient and resistant that ecosystem is from disruption. Oftentimes when we're looking at biodiversity, we look at it within an area of landmass, basically how much diversity there is in a certain area. And one of the ways that we measure landmass is acres or hectares. So you might see this mathematical conversion between acres and hectares throughout the course. So an acre is basically a square mile. A hectare is 100 meters. The conversion between acres and hectares is there are 2.47 acres in 1 hectare. And we abbreviate hectare as HA. Our next indicator is food production. Can we produce enough food for sustaining life on Earth? And where is that food production? Is it happening where most of the people are? Is it happening in places where the food production can be supported or not? Next indicator would be global temperatures. And CO2 levels. So with the global temperatures, looking at how the average temperature of the Earth is increasing and how our CO2 levels are also increasing at increasingly higher rates. The greenhouse effect is in this here. CO2 is a greenhouse gas and it basically traps heat within the Earth. It helps keep Earth sustainable, but when we are trapping too much carbon dioxide before it can be actually used, we're trapping in more and more heat, causing global temperatures to rise. A lot of the indicators with the global temps and CO2 are anthropogenic. Basically, they are human influenced and caused by human activity. Our next indicator is the human population and the number of humans that there are on the planet, and trying to estimate of when Earth is going to be at carrying capacity for a human population. At the time of this recording, we're just over 8 billion people on the planet. I did just read recently that in a lot of rural populations, we've wildly underestimated the amount of people that are in these remote rural areas. So we might have a few more people on the planet than we thought we once had. Our next indicator is resource depletion. Essentially, how fast are we depleting all of the resources that we have to make all of this stuff? In order to live our lives the way that we live them, we have stuff, and what resources are used to make that stuff, what resources are reused, what resources are being lost, and at what rate. So with resource depletion, the things that we need to think about here is sustainability. How can we keep using these resources, but using it in a way that the resource will be available for us for time to come, that we can keep on making the things that we want to have and need to use. One way that we can look at how individually or as a population is looking at how well we're being sustainable is looking at our ecological footprint. So there is no way to not have a footprint at all. No matter how you live, you're going to leave some sort of footprint. You're going to leave behind some sort of disturbance to wherever you are, even if you didn't have a house, you didn't necessarily go grocery shopping, you lived off the land, you're still making a footprint, you're still leaving behind the trace of you being there. But we can take a look at how we are using our resources and what we are doing to become more sustainable, how we're spending our money, how we are using the products that we're using, how. So we will be taking a deeper dive into a lot of these indicators of the ecosystem services throughout this class, and looking how we can be more sustainable, and where sustainability is happening and where it's not happening, things that we can do to improve our sustainability, things that we can do to make sure that the way that we are disrupting these systems are not disrupting it so much that we no longer have the ability to keep this planet habitable. Alrighty, we'll see you in the next one.